You're watching your award-winning Channels Television coming to you live from Lagos. Let's go live now to the commissioning of the Body of Benches complex in Abuja. Stay with us.
Body of Benches complex commissioned by me today. Thank you very much.
Beautiful morning to you, and thanks for joining us on the live coverage of the official commissioning of Body of Benches complex here in Abuja. The president has just unveiled the plaque after cutting the tape for the commissioning to begin. President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. In a moment now, the program will begin. Stay tuned.
Thank you. You may be seated. Your Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, this is the official commissioning of the Body of Benches complex, a project that has a rather long history, but which has come to fruition today with the official commissioning by the country's #1 citizen. Permit me, Your Excellency, to start off with the recognitions of those who are seated here at the podium and who are flanking Mr. President himself. My Lord, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Mr. Justice Olukayode Ariwola, His Excellency Governor Nyesom Wike, the President of the Court of Appeal, the Chairman of the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Judiciary, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Chief of Staff, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, the Minister of Works, The Chairman, Body of Benchers, Chief Wali Olanipekun, SEN. The Vice Chairman of the Body of Benchers, the Honorable Justice Mary Odili, retired Justice of the Supreme Court. Past Chairman of the Body of Benchers, Justices of the Supreme Court, live benchers, the presiding Justices of the Court of Appeal Divisions, the Chief Judge of the FCT, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Chief Judges of the States of the Federation, Attorneys General of the States of the Federation, the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, the Chairman of the Council of Legal Education, and other benchers, Royal Fathers present here today, Emir of Gumi, Justice Lawal Hassan Gumi, the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Baige Mohammed I, retired Justice of the Supreme Court, heads of courts, and members of the Nigerian Bar Association, very special invited guests here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to start off this official commissioning of this edifice, may I now call on the Chairman, Body of Benchers, Chief Wali Olanipekun, SEN, to come forward. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, my Lord, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, who is also a live bencher, the Chairman of the Judiciary Committees of the Senate and House of Representatives, my Lords, Justices of the Supreme Court, the President of the Court of Appeal and all the presiding Justices in all the divisions of the Court of Appeal, my Lords, the Chief Judges of the various High Courts who are here present, live benchers, former chairman or past chairman of the Body of Benchers, honorable ministers, the Chief of Staff to the President who made it happen, my Lord, the Emir of Lafia and other Your Highnesses who are here, benchers, learned senior advocates of Nigeria, and my President, the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, all our other colleagues who are present, ladies and gentlemen, today's event represents our onward journey to a society that centralizes the power and privileges inherent in the rule of law and a reaffirmation of our cooperative steadfastness to the ever-abiding credence of institutional continuity and sustainability. I stand here on behalf of the Body of Benchers to applaud the tenaciousness of purpose, the potency of a mutual allegiance, and an unswerving audacity which dates back to several decades. The Benchers Complex, which had just been commissioned by Mr. President, is but part of a unique blend of aspirations which took root exactly 30 years ago. The idea of a Benchers Complex was mooted In 1992, when Shibankale Oki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, was chairman of the body of benchers, and immediately a building committee comprising Honorable Justice L.M. Ways, DCON, past Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mr. B.A. Bironke, SAN, Mrs. H.A. Balogun, ON, and Chief Debo Akande, SAN, was constituted to map out modalities for the concretization of the idea. Following the then President Umaru Yar'Adua's approval of the application of the body for a parcel of land at the institution and the South District Jabi, Abuja, the turning of the sword and groundbreaking ceremony was performed exactly on 28 November 2008. Construction work commenced in earnest, and the ultimate result is this magnificent and befitting project. So much time, talents, and treasures have been invested into this edifice. And when I recall the very stretch of sacrifices made to the realization of this unique facility, which is a national monument, my reaction is best captured in the words of the world-acclaimed bard, William Shakespeare, when he said, "I can no other answer make but thanks, and thanks, and ever thanks." This benchers complex, Mr. President, consists of a 3,000 seating capacity auditorium, a 240 seating capacity meeting room, a 1,000 seating capacity banquet hall, a 1,000 capacity multipurpose hall, committee meeting room, offices for secretarial staff, library, and a courtroom for the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, amongst others. I say, to God be the glory. This complex is a vigorous expression of the foresightedness of a tripod. That is, the founding fathers, 16 of them in number. One of them is still alive, but he cannot make it here today. Our passionate leaders and peerless members through the years, a good number of them are seated in the front row. I pay my respect to all of you, my predecessors in office. And the peerless members through the years. May I state, most modestly, that this body parades the elders of our nation's legal profession. It is an amalgam of the critical stakeholders of the nation's polity, comprising, as it were, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and the bar. Let me illustrate, Mr. President. On this august body, we have as members the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Lord Justices of the Supreme Court, the President of the Court of Appeal and all the presiding justices of the Court of Appeal in the various divisions, all the Chief Judges of the High Court in Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation who is seated, and all the Attorneys General of the states, a good number of them are here. The Chief Judges of the Federal High Court is seated somewhere there. The Chief Judges of the Federal of the state, they are all around, they are all available. The chairmen of the judiciary committees in both the chambers of the National Assembly, they are present here. Light benchers, they are seated in the front row there, who are drawn. Light benchers who are drawn from both the bar and the bench. All past Chief Justices of Nigeria. Mr. President, 2 of them are here with us. Our father, our leader, the Honorable Justice Alpha Begore, Mahmoud Mohammed, they are all seated. They serve this nation well. We are proud of them. And they always come for our meetings. They are so tenacious. They are so devoted. Their fidelity cannot be questioned. They are our leaders. They are seated here, my Lord, and they are still part and parcel of the body of benchers. Members of the President of the Nigerian Bar Association and representatives of the bar. Mr. President, sir, this unique occasion affords me a golden privilege to reiterate our earlier calls for a more virile and independent judiciary. There is no gainsaying the fact that our Constitution thrives on the doctrine of separation of powers, ably propounded by the French political philosopher Baron de Montesquieu since 1748. Mr. President, we will recall that during the Body of Benchers meeting with Your Excellency on 28 July 2022, I stated that following pressing and incessant complaints of poor conditions of service by judicial officers across the country, the Body of Benchers was compelled to set up a standing committee known as the Body of Benchers Judiciary Advisory Committee. The fundamental function of this committee is to constantly interface with members of the bench in order to take their concerns and frustrations up with the appropriate authorities. Also critical to its mandate is the task of comparing packages made available to judicial officers in other jurisdictions. Mr. President, sir, may I publicly commend Mr. President's immediate response to our plea on behalf of the judiciary on 28 July 2022, more particularly Mr. President's apt response to my address when Your Excellency enthused thus that a democratic government like the one we operate, standing on a tripod comprising the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, cannot stand where one of its three pillars, that is the judiciary, is not properly nurtured, maintained, and sustained to deliver on its very pivotal constitutional duties. Mr. President further promised and directed that in the interim, the report and recommendations of the 2018 Committee on the Review of the Judicial Salaries and Conditions of Service will be implemented. We eagerly anticipate the implementation of the said directive. Meanwhile, the Body of Benchers has formally engaged the services of a leading consulting firm to undertake a peer review of the conditions of service of our judicial officers against what obtained in some other jurisdictions globally. When their report and recommendations are submitted, we will make same available to Mr. President and other stakeholders with a plea that the anticipated recommendations should, among other compelling factors, be used for a more enduring package for judicial officers across the country. It behoves me at this juncture to congratulate all members of the Body of Benchers on this very auspicious occasion. The completion of this project is a manifestation of our consistent and collective efforts over the years. In particular, may I, on behalf of all of us, publicly appreciate and commend members of the Building Committee, and I name them: Mrs. Hairat Balogun, OON, the Chairman; Honorable Justice Umaru Abdullahi, CON; Alhaji Bashir Dalhatu Poman, Chairman of the Body of Benchers; Honorable Justice J.O. Ogebe; Honorable Justice Sulaiman Galadima, CFR; Mr. Ari Lawal Rabana, SAN, and Mrs. H.A. Turaki, for their untiring contributions and sacrifices at ensuring the realization of this monument. To all those who have contributed in cash and kind to this project, we say a big thank you. Mr. President, permit me to, on behalf of all of us, appreciate immensely, and words are just not sufficient to convey appreciation to the government and people of Rivers State under the leadership of our brother, Governor Wike, who is a life bencher. I was trying to restrain myself from not mentioning how much the Rivers State government contributed to this building. Just 500 million naira. We appreciate you, Mr. Governor. We appreciate your government, and may God bless you and the works of your hands. I must not forget to appreciate the Secretary of the Body of Benchers, Mr. Daniel Teller, and all members of the staff for their unflinching support in the course of the construction of this complex. Mr. President, sir, the significance of according us the honor of your presence here today is not lost on us. We are not unmindful of your competing schedules. However, the fact that you have prioritized this engagement demonstrates the esteem with which you hold the body of benchers and, by extension, the legal profession. Sir, as recently as 28 July 2022, Your Excellency played host to the representatives of the body of benchers under my humble leadership at the Presidential Villa. And today, you have honored us with your presence. Sir, you promised that you are coming here to commission this project in the month of September. We virtually dictated the month to Your Excellency. And we also suggested the date. And of the 2 days that we suggested, 27th and 29th of September, Your Excellency picked one. We appreciate, Mr. President. We deeply appreciate all these courtesies, Mr. President. We say thank you and thank you and thank you. God bless the body of benchers. God bless the legal profession. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Chairman, Body of Benchers, Chief Wole Oladipeku, SAN. Mr. President, my lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite His Lordship, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola, to now deliver his message. My Lord.
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, permit me, Your Excellency, to stand firmly on the already created protocol. The chairman of the body of benchers has laid the solid foundation of the protocol. With a grateful heart, I wish to express my profound joy to be here today, to witness and be part of the commissioning of this body of benchers complex, which is a magnificent structure befitting the body of benchers, which is the body with the highest distinction in the legal profession. As a member of this body, indeed a live bencher, I'm aware of the efforts made by present and past chairmen of the body of benchers to see to the realization of this project. And I'm excited that what started several years ago has today become a reality. I commend sincerely the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the body of benchers for this laudable project. The realization of this dream is indeed a big boost to the entire legal profession in Nigeria. The monument will no doubt change the landscape and ease the call to bar ceremonies and other very important activities of the body of benchers, and indeed that of the entire legal profession. Our expectation, therefore, is very high that this gigantic edifice will be put to good use. No doubt, with the complex of this project and the completion of same, the challenges faced in time past in securing a befitting venue for the call to bar ceremonies will become a thing of the past. I therefore congratulate the body of benchers on this auspicious occasion, and I thank God Almighty for making it possible. I thank you all. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
The Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Abubakar Malami, SAN, is the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. We now invite him to deliver his remarks.
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, my Lord, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, my Lord, the President of the Court of Appeal, the members of the body of benchers, and indeed the entire justice sector family here present, let me, in the interest of time, adopt the well-established protocol. Before proceeding further in these remarks, I consider it an abiding duty for me to extend my congratulations to the very distinguished Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola on his confirmation as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria. On behalf of all the stakeholders in the justice sector, I wish Your Lordship wisdom and the enduring will in this national call to the duty of rendering substantial justice for all. I have no doubt that the body of benchers stand to play a critical role in the fulfillment of the onerous mandate of the Chief Judicial Officer of the Federation. Let me be categorical in stating that the significance of today's ceremony transcends the physical commissioning ceremony of this unique edifice. This event further engraves the august body of benchers in our consciousness as legal practitioners. It equally serves as a mark of our common commitment to creating an enabling environment for the advancement of the cause of administration of justice and entrenchment of the rule of law in Nigeria. It is equally pertinent for me to strongly congratulate the past and present leadership of the body of benchers on the critical attainment of commencing and completing this noble addition to the infrastructural landscape of the nation's capital. I implore the management of the body of benchers to ensure that this edifice receive due and prompt maintenance services, while also expressing the confidence that the resources in the complex will contribute greatly to the development of legal education and sustenance of ethical standards in the legal profession. I consider it much in order for me to wholeheartedly commend the efforts and dedication of the body of benchers over the years in playing its fundamental role of admittance of fit and proper persons into the profession, as well as ensuring that the profession purges itself from the cancerous effect of charlatan and misfits. As we continue to witness issues and developments that challenges the integrity of the legal profession, the body of benchers as a critical gatekeeper and conscience of the legal profession must be awakened to the reality of the onus of us to sustain higher moral and ethical standards in the profession. Your Excellency, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford to lower the bar in terms of good character and sound learning if we must retain public confidence. I have implicit confidence in the present leadership of the body of benchers that it will pursue the paths of resorting professionalism with full vigor. I look forward to working with you on your proposed reform measures aimed at holistically reinvigorating the legal profession. The body of benchers also needs to up its ante as a veritable bridge between the bar and the bench in the overall interest of the profession. As legal practitioners, we must also realize that our practice as advocates and solicitors bear great impact on our nation and must therefore strive for the best always to sustain the legacies of the past while charting an assured future. I wish to recall that one of the major issues that featured during the recent visit of the leadership of the body of benchers to President Muhammadu Buhari is the issue of improvement in the remuneration and welfare of our judicial officers. I can confirm to you from my recent engagements with His Excellency the President that the President has indeed set in motion the process to attain the desired improvements despite the acute revenue challenges. I wish to reiterate the fact that the President accepted to commission this building is indeed a further demonstration of his love for the legal profession and matters that will strengthen the rule of law. This is further re-established by the fact that the facility and indeed the land on which this edifice has been put in place was indeed provided by the government, in addition and over the periodic support being provided towards the realization of this project. Again, I congratulate every individual and corporate entities that have contributed in no small measures to the realization of this magnificent complex, a symbol of hope and justice. God bless you all and bless our dear nation, Nigeria. Thank you.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SCN. Mr. President, my lords, in just about 10 minutes, you'll get to see a video clip of this benchers complex. We ask that you sit back and view the magnificence that has just been commissioned and is now the body of benchers complex.
You're still on to the live coverage of the official commissioning of the Body of Benches complex here in Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari has performed the cutting of the tape and the unveiling of the plaque. And you've also heard from the chairman of the Body of Benchers, Chief Wole Olanipekun.
Mr. President, it would seem that
who has reiterated
there is a glitch
what this complex is about and the journey so far.
While that has been taken care of, may I quickly inform the gathering here that Mr. President will be delivering his address shortly. But just before he does that, let me just quickly remind those who would be in what has been called a family picture with the President shortly after his speech. The photograph session will take place up here, and we'd just like to remind all those who would be in this family picture that immediately after the President's speech, they would join him up here for that picture. And it will be in addition to those who are seated right here at the podium. And those in this family picture would be the Honorable Justice S.M.E. Belgore, GCON, Honorable Justice Mahmoud Muhammad, GCON, Alhaji Bashir Dalhatu, Mr. O.C.J. Okocha, MFR, SEN, Honorable Justice Olabode Rhodes Vival, CFR, Honorable Justice M.B. Nongbam Mensem, Chief Adeboyiga Awumolo, SEN, Mr. R.A. Lawal Rabbana, SEN, Honorable Justice Suleiman Galadima, CFR, Mrs. H.A. Turaki, Mr. Y.C. Mekyau, SAN, Daniel M. Taylor, Esquire. They will join other dignitaries seated here in a family picture with the President, but that would be after the President's speech. Seems the video clip would still not come, but in the meantime, let me now invite the chairman of the Body of Benchers, once again, Chief Wole Olanipekun, to present a souvenir to Mr. President. And now, my lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I now respectfully invite the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to deliver his address on the commissioning of this body of benchers complex. Mr. President.
Please sit down. Thank you. Chief Justice of the Federation, Your Excellency River State Governor, Chairman, Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary, President of the Court of Appeal, Justices of the Supreme Court, the Chief of Staff, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, and ministers present here, chairmen and members of the body of benchers, our royal fathers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my pleasure to this distinguished body for its initiative in coming up with this fine building and for inviting me to formally do the commissioning. This is a major achievement for the body of benchers, as this structure serves to boost infrastructural development of the legal profession. I commend the efforts of the entire body of benchers for being able to deliver this project, which I have been told was embarked on in 2008 and has only now been fully completed. From the information available to me, meetings of the body of benchers were hitherto held at the Supreme Court premises, both in Lagos and Abuja. Now the body has its own beautiful complex, which will serve for its meetings, seminars, conferences, and also bring some revenue to its coffers. I am aware that the body of benchers is responsible for the formal call to bar of persons seeking to become legal practitioners, as well as ensuring the highest standard of discipline within the profession. I consider this body as critical to the legal profession. I say this because the membership of the body cuts across all facets of government and the legal profession, particularly the executive, legislature, judiciary, and the bar. Furthermore, all justices of the Supreme Court, retired Chief Justices of Nigeria, who are alive, President of the Court of Appeal, and presiding justices, Chief Judges of the High Courts, the Federal and State Attorney Generals, Chairmen of the Judiciary Committees in the two houses of the National Assembly, leading members of the bar, and others constitute this body. I am unaware of any other institution or organ in the legal profession that draws its membership from all segments of the profession like the body of benchers. No wonder the statute describes it as consisting of men of the highest distinction in the legal profession. As I have always maintained, adherence to the rule of law is critical to the progress of any society, and this administration has not relented in its commitment to this ideal. Efforts by a body as this, with over 5 decades of proven track record, to keep the wheel of justice turning effectively in providing solid foundation for upholding the rule of law are commendable. I recall that on the 28th of July, 2022, when I played host to the leadership of the body of benchers, its chairman, Chief Ole Olanipekun San, was very emphatic in making a case for the welfare of judicial officers in the country. I am not unaware of the passion and commitment of Chief Olanipekun in championing the cause of the welfare of judicial officers in Nigeria, as well as the commitment of the body on this matter. May I restate my commitment towards this ideal. In similar vein, I have been intimated of the engagement of consultants by the body through its Judiciary Advisory Committee to, amongst other things, come up with a fair review of the condition of service of judicial officers in Nigeria with other countries and jurisdictions within and outside Africa. I earnestly look forward to the completion of this fair review and the submission of recommendation, as this will assist us to review the welfare packages. A society where justice thrives is one that can be assured of development. For Nigeria to effectively embrace sustainable development, institutions such as the legal profession must remain deeply committed towards promoting good governance. As the 2023 general elections draw near, the significance of the legal profession becomes even more pronounced, considering the vital roles you play in the electioneering process, both at the pre- and post-election stages. I hope you maintain the position of an honest arbiter. Once again, I thank the body of benchers for this opportunity to identify with it on this auspicious occasion of the commission of this beautiful edifice. Thank you all for your attention, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Very much. Thank you, Mr. President. My Lord, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the family picture I earlier alluded to is now, but there is a slight adjustment to the position based on the advice of the photographers. It would seem that those seated here would simply just file out here, while the others would, okay, they would just stand right here at the bottom. May I once again, my lords, invite the following to stand right here, and they will be joined by Mr. President, the Honorable Justice M.A. Belgore, GCON, Honorable Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, GCON, Alhaji Bashir Al-Hatu, Mr. O.C.J. Okocha, MFR, SAN, the Honorable Justice Olabode Rhodes Vivo, CFR, Honorable Justice Suleiman Galadima, CFR, Chief Adegbuiga Awumolo, SAN, Mr. R.A. Lawal Rabana, SEN. Mrs. H.A. Turaki, Mr. Yakubu Mekiau, SEN. Daniel M. Taylor, Esquire. I'm sure I didn't miss out any name on the family picture. May I now also invite the Justice of the Supreme Court who are in front to please join in this family picture. Thank you very much. Right, we're done. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, my lords, thank you so much. And now the national anthem. Thank you very much. As the President departs, he will sign the visitors register on his way out. My lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a conclusion this official commissioning of the Body of Benches complex in Abuja. My name is Cyril Stober. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been watching the live transmission of the official commissioning of the Body of Benches complex here in Abuja, performed by no other person but President Muhammadu Buhari. And in his speech, he's reiterated the commitment of his administration towards improving the welfare of the judiciary officers. He's also asked that the judiciary remain an honest arbiter. And of course, that's what the judiciary is expected to live up to, especially in this season of election. Election. And we know what usually happens after election. Now, to also give you a few information about the complex, once again, is that it's a 3,000 seating capacity auditorium with 240 seating capacity meeting room, a 1,000 seating capacity banquet hall, 1,000 seating capacity multi-purpose hall with committee meeting room, offices for secretariat staff, library, and a courtroom for the legal practitioners, disciplinary committee, amongst others. We'll just play a video that captures the journey of the complex, after which we will have some interviews with some personalities here. Just stay tuned and don't go yet. right, we're here in the complex that has just been commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Body of Benches complex, which is a 3,000 capacity complex. And we have with us here a retired Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Rhodes Viber, who just give us a perspective, or his perspective, on what this complex will do. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We'd like to know from you, how will this complex impact on the legal profession in Nigeria?
Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. This project was started in 2008 and is just being completed now. It's a place where justices of all ranks will meet for all things connected with the judiciary. We'll have the call to the bar here. As you recall, we've been having it all over the place, either at the conference center or at the Eagle Square. Now we can have it here. We have our seminars, meetings, and all what you can think of to do with the judiciary for the enhancement of the judiciary.
Thank you very much, sir. We're grateful for sharing your thought with us on this. We'll just have the chairman of the Body of Benchers, Chief Wale Olanipekun, would give us more perspectives on this complex. And just as you've heard, the fact is that this is where call to bar ceremony will be happening henceforth. We know that before this official commissioning, there was a call to bar ceremony here in July this year. But officially now, all candidates for the call to bar ceremony are expected to converge here. We now have the chairman of the Body of Benchers, Chief Wale Olanipekun, senior advocate of Nigeria, to give us his perspective on this complex. My lord, good afternoon. I'll hold the mic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not my lord. I'm just an ordinary lawyer. Thank you. Yeah.
For that. Yes.
Thank you.
So let's get to the nitty-gritty of this complex. In your own speech, you mentioned the fact that it's a long journey towards this achievement. Share with us how you feel today that finally this complex is here.
Yeah. It's a story of 30 years, summarized in 1 minute. I was a new member of the Body of Benches, just coming in 1991, when the idea was mooted. By that time, I was the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Ondo State. I was a statutory member of the Body of Benches then, that we should have our own complex. The meeting held in Lagos, and a committee was set up. By that time, we could not secure a parcel of land either in Lagos or in Abuja. Along the line, in 2008, we got this parcel of land from President Umaru Yar'Adua. We started the construction, gathering money here and there. Little drops making the mighty ocean. Interventions from good-intentioned institutions, persons, individuals, corporations, and what have you, genuinely, legally. All donations given to us were filtered. You know what I mean? All past presidents or past chairmen of the Body of Benchers, they made efforts, they tried, they made contributions. During our meetings, we were always discussing how we are going to get to this goal. And finally, we set up a building committee headed by our leader, a past chairman of the Body of Benchers, Mrs. Harriet Balogun, a few years back. Assiduously, that committee worked. They were giving us report constantly, frequently. And to God be the glory. Under my chairmanship, being the 50th chairman of the body of benchers, God says, with the cooperation of all members of the body of benchers and efforts of my predecessors in office, we were able to complete this project. And President Buhari came here today to commission it. When you look at the project, it's not just meant for the body of benchers. And what do I mean? We have this hall meant for our call to bar ceremonies. We have other outfits, other areas within the complex that are meant, to be commercially exploited and explored. And that was why Mr. President said, if we play our card very well, the complex will bring in revenue for our coffers. But that's just not it. When you look at the entirety of this complex, it's a national monument. It defines the entire area. It is a pride, not just to us on the body of benchers, not just to us in the legal profession, but to the nation. We want to pray that we'll be able to maintain it, because maintenance culture rather, appears to be alien to our clime. And we are going to set up a committee that will be in charge of the maintenance of this fantastic edifice. But when you just ask me, I am at the top of the world, on top of the world, my very best, giving glory to God, thanking God, and thanking members of the body of benchers for solidly standing with me, standing by me, supporting me.
So, obviously, you are elated. There is no doubt about that.
No, I'm elated, I'm overwhelmed, obviously. You can see it in me, you can see it during the time I was talking, when I was delivering my speech. You can see it all around me. You can see the aura of happiness. You can see that I'm overwhelmed. You can see that I'm joyful. You can see that I'm glad. You can see that I give glory, all glory to God.
One of the issues that has played out here is the issue of the welfare of judiciary officers, which you, in your own speech, alluded to and said that a consulting firm or a consortium has been engaged. How soon? Mr. President said he's willing to key into this. How soon do we expect to see that consultancy firm turn out its report?
All things being equal, and lawyers will say ceteris paribus, the report should be out in 3 months. And the report, we are going to debate it here, is going to be subjected to the comments, to the remarks of members of the profession, of stakeholders, of judges across the line, judges across all the tiers in the country. And we are going to submit it to the appropriate authorities. I'm not saying the appropriate authority, because it's just not the federal government. We have the state government. In fact, let me say this. Apart from a few states, it's still better, it's still easier to manage the judiciary at the federal level than at the state level. In a good number of the states in Nigeria today, the judiciary is virtually dead. They do not show any concern for what happens to the judiciary. The courts are derelict. The courts are collapsing. Judges' welfare, nobody wants to hear anything to say or to do anything about that. Salaries are not paid, and we have this dangerous situation, and I'm carefully applying the word dangerous situation, where judges retire, pensions are not paid, gratuities are not honored, nowhere to rest their heads. They become so frustrated, they age so quickly and so rapidly, and they pass to the great beyond. It's not done anywhere in the world, to the best of my own knowledge, little knowledge. And that's why we say, let us now do comparison, peer review, peer comparison of what obtained. I'm not saying what obtained in Ghana, nearby Ghana, what obtains in South Africa, what obtains in Europe, particularly in Britain, in Canada, in America. And let us now compare. Let us define minimal. What would be the minimal package for an average judge or for an average justice? I said this sometimes. A justice of the Supreme Court in our clime earns 250,000 naira. I, as a senior lawyer, never knew anything about it until we interacted with justices of the Supreme Court recently when they had this problem at the Apex Court. I could not hold my breath. I shouted, and when Mr. President heard about it, he nodded his head. So we expect the report to be out in 2 months, and we will work so urgently on it, and we submit it. Justice defines us as a nation. Justice defines us as a people. Justice defines us as human beings. That's what separates human beings from animals, you know. When we say you go to court of justice, when you say the coat of arms, you are talking of justice. When you say the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you are talking of equity and justice. Then, if you don't, and I want to repeat this, if we don't maintain justice, justice will not regulate us, justice will not maintain us, justice will desert us, and may justice never desert us, both at the federal level and at the state levels. And we want to plead in advance to a good number of our governors who care less about the judiciary to have a change of heart. We appreciate you.
Yeah, just lastly from me, the president has charged the judiciary. In his words, he said, I hope that the judiciary remains a honest arbiter. Putting that side by side with your call for a viral, independent judiciary, I mean, how do we expect the judiciary to remain an honest arbiter when the issue of the lack of independence of the judiciary is there?
Whatever might be the situation, whatever might be the hardship, whatever might be the challenges, it is my conviction, and I've expressed this over and over and over, judiciary must be independent. Judiciary must be honest. In the determination of issues, in adjudication, a judex holds justice in trust for God. And I've said it, and is answerable to God on the last day of judgment. And we lawyers are also answerable to God. On the day of judgment, I want to plead that whatever might be the challenges, whatever might be the hiccups, whatever might be the pitfalls, however undulating the terrain might be, a judex must remain honest, a judex must remain steadfast, a judex must hold justice in trust for God. And we know God is justice, God is equity, God is fairness.
Thank you very much, Chief Wole Olanipekun, the chairman of the body of benchers, which, of course, is the highest professional and disciplinary body in the Nigerian judiciary. We would now take distinguished Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary. We'll just hear from him.
How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Senator.
Yes.
Yes. How important would you say is this event today? As the chairman of the Senate Judiciary, as chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, how would you describe, the significance of this event today?
Well, to the glory of God, I think what we have witnessed here today is another happy moment. This is a project that was conceived of some 30 years ago, in 1992, by the leadership of the body of benchers, as it were, then. And the foundation stone was actually also laid in 2008. So we are saying that, for 30 years, people had nurtured a dream to see a day like this. And we're happy that eventually this has come, to be. And I must say that what we're also celebrating here is the success of the collaborative efforts of a lot of stakeholders from within the three arms of government, actually, principally the judiciary, and then, of course, the executive arm and the legislative arm of government. And outside of that, you also have stakeholders like the Nigerian Bar Association. So it's a happy day for Nigeria. It's an extremely happy moment for both the bench and the bar. And this is something that everyone in the legal profession can look forward to. And I want to believe that the next challenge now is for all of us to not only recognize this as a legacy, but see how best we can ensure that it is well maintained and that it is also made to add value to our legal education, especially continuing legal education. In addition to the other things that it will be used for based on the mandate of the body of benchers.
Talking about the next challenge that is ahead, some persons might look at this and say, well, perhaps other issues like the welfare of the judiciary and others should have come before this, looking at the colossal amount of money that has been invested here. Do you share in that thought? I mean, putting perhaps on a scale of preference, should these have come before issues of welfare and other paramount issues affecting the Nigerian judiciary?
Well, the way I will respond to that is that actually there has not been any conflict or contradiction in this matter. Yes, this is a project, like I said, that had been going on in the last 30 years. But when you're also talking about the improvement of the welfare of judicial officers and staff, that's a continuous thing. It was an issue yesterday, it is an issue today, it will even be an issue tomorrow. So even if today you review the salaries and allowances of our judicial officers, this is 2022. Some few years down the line, you still will need to address it as an issue. The last time their remuneration was reviewed, was actually in 2008. That's part of the reason we are also really worried today that this matter is one that ought to be attended to as soon as yesterday. It has become very urgent. But if you look at the way, our currency has continued to lose value, it means that to appreciate why people are worried today, just imagine, the worth of whatever salary was fixed for a judicial officer since 2008 without any increment. Whatever the naira was worth then is almost, less than 30% of the same value today. So it has to be addressed. But like I said, even if it is addressed today, a few years down the line, we'll still have to deal with it. So it's a continuous process that we'll have to continue to address, and it shouldn't be anything that will stop a project like this. And mind you, this is also a project that was not only funded, with government resources. A lot of people within the legal profession, also personally contributed into this, individually and as a group. And we have also some other state actors. For instance, the governor of Rivers State was celebrated here today as having made a major donation, to the resources that got this place completed. So different stakeholders, had been responsible for bringing this to completion.
Thank you very much, Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary. Thank you. We'll now take the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary, Honorable Onofiok Luke. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon to you, sir.
Yes. So you've heard the call by the body of benchers, the need for a viral, independent judiciary, which has remained a very disturbing issue. How would the House of Representatives, or let's say the National Assembly now, wade into this matter?
I want to say that the National Assembly and the 9th Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, under the able leadership of Right Honorable Gbajabiamila, had made it a priority, that is the welfare of judicial officers, independence of judiciary, in the legislative agenda of the 9th National Assembly. So it was captured in our legislative agenda, and flowing from then has been a series of legislations, pieces of proposals in motions, legislations, all seeking to ensure that we have the independence of the judiciary. And then when the House of Representative Committee on Judiciary, who by the grace of God, with the magnanimity of the Speaker, which I heard, had to take a cue from that position in the legislative agenda, and then we've been trying to intervene one way or the other, being advocates for better welfare, better living conditions for our judicial officers. But most importantly, the House collectively, in the just concluded constitutional review, constitutional amendment, inserted had some proposals that would ensure the independence of judiciary. For instance, there was a proposal to strengthen, when we had a proposal on strengthening institutions, there was a proposal to strengthen the National Judicial Council, that is to make the council more independent, that is the council responsible for the appointment and discipline of judicial officers. And one way was to try to address this issue of poor remuneration of judicial officers. And so powers were given to, in that amendment, in that proposal, which passed in both houses and were sent to the different states for ratification. Powers were given to National Judicial Council to fix and review every 4 years the remuneration of judicial officers, so that instead of us to act within the purview of the certain public officials, judicial officers remuneration, salaries and allowances act, which has not been, nothing has been done concerning it since 2008. That means that the remuneration of judicial officers have not been reviewed since about 13 years ago. So we had to give those powers to the National Judicial Council to deal with that. The second thing was the issue of we've been strong on the advocacy for the I could call what I call it the implementation, full implementation of judicial autonomy, both administrative and financial autonomy for the judiciary at the state level. Because when we talk about judiciary, yeah, the federal judiciary has a level of autonomy, but we have some challenges at that state level. And so in conjunction with the Senate, in conjunction with the entirety of the stakeholders, including the Board of Benchers, Board of Senior Advocates of Nigeria, even the bench itself, because the bench made some submissions to us during the sitting of the Committee on Constitutional Amendment. So with the totality of these ideas, I believe that we would come out with something concrete and taking lessons from other jurisdictions on how they are doing, how they're operating. For instance, let's take a lesson from the just concluded elections of Kenya. You could see that within 14 days, the Supreme Court had given a judgment. And so that is a lesson that we can now take, adopt and adapt, and then make it suit to our local circumstances. So by the grace of God, we should be able to achieve that in the 9th Assembly. And since government is a continuum, whatsoever we'll not be able to achieve here, then others who would come in would be able to build on the foundation that has already been laid and other building blocks that has been kept.
Does it worry you that the 2023 general election will soon hold, and we still have these concerns about, the independence of the judiciary?
I would say not so much, in the sense that we have men of impeccable character and integrity in our bench. That does not mean that we don't have a few, which is very minimal, a few tiny concerns there about characters of one or two persons. But the generality, the Nigerian judiciary is populated by men of proven integrity. And so I believe that over time, they've been able to give that sense of direction, and they've been able to give judgment. There are certain judgments that some members of the society might not agree with, maybe because they are not well versed with the issues and facts. They are not well abreast with the issues and facts. Or maybe because of emotions, because of sentiment, they feel, oh, judgment should have gone this way. And so because of that, that has raised some concerns. But generally, I believe that we have had some, because when you talk about elections, the very first foundation, the framework for electoral process, lays the foundation. Now we have had a new electoral act which has dealt with some issues that were left for the judiciary to be determined. So I believe with that we've laid a solid foundation with that electoral act, and then the judiciary will pick from there. That's why I've been an advocate that the present there should be a synergy between the Nigerian Judicial Institute and then other, even the National Judicial Council, on the training of our judicial officers on the present electoral act, so that issues that they used to bother themselves before, prior to the enactment of the Electoral Act 2022 will not become an issue any longer. So I'm not bothered. I think we can learn a lesson, like I said, from other jurisdictions, and those would give us a pointer to where we need to go to.
Thank you very much, Honorable Onofiok Luke, Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary. We do appreciate you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.
All right, we'll now take the Secretary of the Body of Benchers, but before then we will take the Pioneer Secretary of the Body of Benchers, Mrs. Ali Matu Turaki, who has played significant role in the construction of this complex. Let's now take her. Let's hear from her, Mrs. Alimatu Turaki, the Pioneer Secretary of the Body of Benchers. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I have no doubt that from your smiles, you feel fulfilled today. Share with us your involvement in this project and how important achieving it is to you.
Yes. All right. The building started really in 1999, and through to 2010, that was when the government started giving us funds for it. It was really at Buhari Law School, then the former Attorney General of the Federation, and Doka SAN, and with the Minister of FCT, then decided that we should come to this place, that's the Institute village here, because the land you can see is large enough to accommodate what we want to. We're having call to bar of sometimes 3,000 aspirants to the bar, and then we spend almost 3 days or 5 days, sometimes 2 weeks to do that. So that is when they now said, okay, let us have a hall large enough to accommodate everybody. So that's when we started. In 2010, it started with Chief J.N. Wechwe's son, and this is where we are today with Chief Olanipeku SAN commissioning it. We are so happy that the president have time to come and commission the edifice.
So we understand that the call to bar ceremony will be taking place here in this hall. Of course, there was a call to bar ceremony in July that happened here, but officially this will now be where call to bar ceremonies will be happening. Do you think that in a way, gives the candidate some kind of, confidence and, is it gonna affect or impact on their, self-confidence as lawyers?
They will, because this terrain you can see is very good, it's secured, and as you said, we already have a call to bar this year, and we are also going to have another call to bar here, and I think you can see it's large enough to accommodate at least 1,005. With the gallery, it can accommodate 1,005. So we are optimistic that it's going to be the best for everybody, not only the aspirant, but with the members of the Body of Benchers and their parents, their guardians and their parents. It will accommodate everybody.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate you for sharing your thoughts with us. We would now take the Secretary of the Body of Benchers in person of Mr. Daniel Taylor. Yes, Would like to take Mr. Daniel Taylor now, who is the secretary of the body of benchers. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Taylor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. The call to bar ceremony, is holding here. This is where call to bar ceremonies will be holding. Share with us what has changed, or what will change in the ceremony, seeing that we're not gonna have candidates stay in an open arena as it has been before now. What will change? What are the things that have been added to this complex that will change the outlook of the ceremony generally?
All right, thank you so much. The whole idea of this complex is to have a venue where it's an all-in-one complex where call to bar itself will take place. So the whole idea, initially we started from law school, now moved to International Conference Center, and thanks to COVID, we had to move to the Eagle Square. But now we have a befitting structure. And the whole idea is this: you can see for yourself, it has a 3,000 seating capacity. So the number of days we spend conducting call to bar will definitely reduce. So if we have like 5,000 people we're calling to bar at the same time, you can be able to do that within 2 days. The auditorium is big enough, the banquet hall is large enough. So the whole idea is housing everything, including the legal personnel disciplinary committee, so that we'll no longer go to the Court of Appeal to begin to seek for venue. We have a convenient place. The LPDC can sit in panel and be able to operate within this place.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the legal practitioners disciplinary court that is part of this complex. You have just alluded to the fact that it will reduce the rigors and all of that. But would that make any difference in terms of improving, this disciplinary committee's activities?
Certainly. The choice of venue matters. And sometimes the LPDC will have to work with the calendar of the Court of Appeal. But now we have a complex of our own that has a courtroom independent of its own. So at every point in time, if the LPDC want to sit daily, they have an opportunity to sit daily. If it's going to be weekly, they have the opportunity to sit weekly. So that's the whole idea. So the LPDC sitting will continue uninterrupted. Yeah.
All right. How do you feel, today, seeing that this is achieved under your leadership as the secretary of the body of benchers?
Wow, my joy knows no bound. It's a dream come true. We've prepared, we've prayed, and thank God it's a reality. Sincerely speaking, I can become emotional now, but thank God it's a success because I know what we have gone through to make this a reality. And of course, I've not done it alone. Thanks to the good staff we have, we team up together and then this project is a reality. Thanks to Mr. President for coming to commission the project. It's a dream come true and I'm happy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel Taylor. Indeed, it's a tale of success. A journey of 30 years has come to fruition with a magnificent edifice here in Abuja where call to bar ceremonies will now take place. That means that there won't be fears of rainfall or fears of sunlight hitting hard on the candidates that will be called to bar. And so this is the march we can take on these live coverage of the official commissioning of the body of benchers complex here in Abuja.